Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Women's Advanced Bible Study Night, 11th of July, 2024. Okay, we'll be dealing with a video that I had posted, Daniel chapter 4 and Revelation 9. That'll be our focus for tonight. You can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening, and check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can look at and examine. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you feel the need to support the channel, we have our Cash App at the bottom of the screen. For those that don't know, this is the non-Messianic channel, and we deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament. We don't subscribe to the New Testament, the JC, the Apostles, Paul, none of that. Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our Women's Advanced Bible Study. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer. We read the Psalms. We have some women's health. Then we do some current events, little need to know information. Then we open up for some Q&A. And then we go into our topic, which is Daniel 9, Daniel 4 and Revelation 9. Okay. Moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts, and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. But Lord, we come this day, bow down, honoring you, praising you, and believing in you. And we thank you for your wisdom and knowledge that you have poured out upon us. And through your prophets, you have revealed the times that we as Jacob's children would endure the tribulation and be delivered. Keep us, O Lord, and guide us and deliver us. And we see you now within the Holy Scriptures, and we trust you with all our heart and soul. Keep not that silence, but shine forth on our enemies with our great power and our great glory. Peace be unto you. Okay, going to read the Psalms.
Shalom. I'm reading from Psalm 74. The title of this psalm is Remember Your Chosen People. O God, why hast thou cast us off forever? Why doeth thine anger smoke against the sheep of the pasture? Remember thy congregation which thou hast purchased of old, the rod of thy inheritance, which thou hast redeemed, this Mount Zion within thou hast dwelleth. Lift up thy feet upon the perpetual dissolution, even all that the enemy have done wickedly in the sanctuary. Thine enemies roar in the midst of thy congregation. They set up their ensigns for signs. A man was famous according as he had lifted up axes upon thick trees, but now they break down the carved wood thereof at once with axes and hammers. They have cast fires into the sanctuary. They have defiled by casting down the dwelling place of thy name to the ground. They said in their hearts, let us destroy them together. They have burnt up all the synagogues of God in the land. We see not our signs. There is no more any prophet, neither is there among us any that knoweth how long. O God, how long shall the adversary reproach? Shall the enemy blaspheme thy name forever? Why withdraweth thou thy hand, even thy right hand, pluck it out of thy bosom? For God is my King of old, working salvation in the midst of the earth. Thou didst divide the sea by strength. Thou breakest the head of the dragons in the water. Thou breakest the head of the Leviathan in pieces and gavest him to be meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness. Thou didst cleave the fountain and flood. Thou driedest up mighty rivers. The day is thine, the night is also thine. Thou also prepared the light and the sun. Thou hast set all the borders of the earth. Thou hast made summer and winter. Remember this, that the enemy hath reproach, O Lord, and that the foolish people have blasphemed thy name. O deliver not the soul of thy turtle dove unto the multitude of the wicked. Forget not the congregation of thy poor forever. Have respect upon unto the covenant, for the dark places of the earth are full of the inhabitants of cruelty. O let not the oppressed return ashamed. Let the people and the needy praise thy name. Arise, O God, plead thy own cause. Remember how the foolish man reproacheth thee daily. Forget not the voice of thine enemies. The tumult of those that rise up against thee increaseth continually. I've read to you Psalms 74, 1 through 23.
Okay, you got any comments on that? Or
Well, as I was looking for something to read, is I wanted something to speak to me,
right?
and I think in the last couple of days, with all the stuff that's going on in the world and just around me, um, that the I guess the heading of the verse kind of stood out to me. Just not letting us be forgotten and praying to our God, for the change that we know is coming to come quickly and swiftly because of all the stuff that's going on in the world. And I don't know, that verse just stuck out to me, and I read it before I had a chance to read it to you guys. And I think it kind of goes along with the prayer that you were saying, about bringing about our deliverance. And I think that's what that verse or that song said to me.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Let's when you look at it says the miscal of Asaph. Asaph is a Levite and he's a musician. He's one of David's. Matter of fact, he's a lead musician in Israel. He's one of David's close friends. And that word miscal means compilation. So it's like a when you're composing a song. So it says the miscal of Asaph. But anyway, so this is a prime example of what I was saying about having when you have the right knowledge and right understanding, like with these Levites and this priesthood, they're dealing with angels. So notice how he's charging the Lord the host. Everybody can't do that, but he's telling them, how long are you gonna cast us off? And then because he know the history and because he's the Israelite, he's telling them, he reminding them of past things that had happened, and then he says, how long are you gonna allow this to happen? Go on. Then you see all through there, like he reminded him in 14, thou breakest the heads of the Leviathan in pieces, and gave him to be meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness. So that's when they was in the wilderness, and he says that the east wind came and went out into the ocean and came back in, and they had the doves. Then he brought all them up when the Israelites was asking for meat. They said they were tired of eating the angel food. So a wind came and went in the ocean and came out and had doves. He throwed all the doves on the land, and they had doves to eat. But those doves were part of Leviathan. You know who Leviathan is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we got two beasts, supernatural beasts in the book of Enoch. One of them is Behemoth, which is on the land, and Leviathan is a sea monster that's in the sea. And they interdimensional beings. That's why they still exist, but nobody can really case them or cage them or catch them because of the interdimensional being. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, so he's able to, because of who he is and the knowledge that he's able to charge the Most High and ask him, just like Moses did on Mount Sinai. Moses told him, why would you kill the people? Then he went to reminding them of the things he did in Egypt and all that. And so, like I was saying, any man can't do that. You come up missing. Okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay. We got our women's health moment.
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. Please know that the information that is shared is intended for general, informational, and educational purposes only and is not medical advice or recommended treatment. Tonight's discussion is on vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D is often referred to as the sunshine vitamin because it is produced by your body when your skin is exposed to the sun. Deficiencies can arise if a person does not take enough vitamin D or their skin has an impaired ability to synthesize it from the sun. A person can also become deficient if the body is not able to absorb the vitamin or convert it to its active form in the liver and kidneys. Low vitamin D levels can lead to a range of problems, especially relating to the bones and muscles. Vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin that the body produces when the skin gets exposed to sunlight. It is present in a small number of foods, including fortified products like orange juice, which contains no sugar, milk, eggs, and whole grain bread. Various factors can increase the risk of a deficiency. Your diet. People who do not eat enough vitamin D rich foods, including fortified dairy products and cereals, may have low levels of vitamin D. Your lifestyle factor. Some people spend little time outdoors due to work, ill health, a lack of outdoor space in their neighborhood, or other factors. These people have less opportunity to expose their skin to sunlight. Smoking, obesity, other medications, and kidney and liver health. The best ways to prevent a vitamin D deficiency are to eat foods that are rich in this nutrient and to spend some time outside each day. Maintaining a healthy body weight. Cycling or walking can provide both exercise and exposure to sunlight. Treating medical conditions. People with health conditions that affect the nutrients may find that treating the underlying condition helps boost their levels of certain nutrients, including vitamin D. Being proactive about preventive health. The bottom line is that most people can obtain the vitamin D they need from the diet and exposure to sunlight. However, it is not possible to measure how much vitamin D a person obtains from sunlight. Tonight, I'm going to be reading from the Wisdom of Sirach, chapter 36, verses 21 through 25. Verse 21. A woman will receive every man, yet is one daughter better than another. The beauty of a woman cheers the countenance, and a man loves nothing better. If there be kindness, meekness, and comfort in her tongue, then is not her husband like other men? He that gets a wife begins a possession, a help like to himself, and a pillar of rest. 25. Where no hedge is, there the possession is spoiled, and he that has no wife will wander up and down mourning. Tonight's discussion was on vitamin D deficiency, and I read Wisdom of Sirach, chapter 36, verses 21 through 25. Shalom, everyone.
Okay, well, I appreciate that information. Anybody have any comments on it? Okay, yeah, so we'll go into our current events, right? I'm gonna play this and then get a little feedback.
The calls are getting louder and louder for Vice President Kamala Harris and former First Lady Michelle Obama to step into the shoes of the candidate for the presidency of the United States for the Democrats. Now, of course, a lot of people in the Democratic Party have asked President Joe Biden to step down after watching his abysmal performance during the debate with former President Donald Trump, where again, Biden was very incoherent and mumbled and a whole lot of stuff that left people saying, okay, I knew there was something wrong, right? And so a poll by IPSOS stated that Kamala Harris and Trump are virtually in a tie, right? So if they were to have the election today, that Kamala could give him a run for the money. Although there's a lot of polls saying that people wouldn't want Kamala to be the president. And then a CNN poll, well, there's no wonder there, right? Said that Michelle Obama would get about 50% of the vote and Trump would get 39%. Well, I say there's no surprise there because CNN is left leaning. So the people that they poll, of course, they're going to say, yeah, I want Michelle Obama. Now, we know that a lot of people do not want Michelle nor Kamala to be the president. Now, of course, they said other people like Gavin Newsom from California, Andy Beshear, and Gretchen Whitmire from Michigan, the governor, they would also be great candidates to go up against that of Donald Trump. But as we know now, Biden said, I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to be the president of the United States for another 4 years. And he said that I can do it. There's nothing wrong with me, right? Again, we know what we saw. But what I want to ask y'all is, would you entertain a Michelle Obama presidency? Now, we kind of know the answer with Kamala, but some people might. Some people say, well, she'd be a better choice because at least she's coherent, right? She's able to speak to certain issues or whatever the case is. Now, just because she's coherent, that don't mean she's cut for the job. We've seen Kamala perform kind of on the main stage before, so I don't know how well of a job she would do. But yeah, you can understand her. She seems to be strong, but would she actually be strong? And of course, as Black Americans, we want to know what's in it for us, right? I know they tell us Kamala's Black. She says she's Black. Okay, she's Black, right? I'm not going to dispute that with her. But we know what happened the last time somebody Black was in the White House. They completely ignored Black people. Barack Obama completely ignored us as if we didn't exist, but helped everybody else. In fact, they called Obama the first gay president. Not that he's gay, but that he did a lot of legislation for the LGBTQ community. And, you know, thinking about, and of course, what Kamala, she said, I'm not going to do nothing just for y'all, Black people out. So that was in regards to reparations. She's not going to do it. Now, in regards to Michelle Obama, now I've watched Michelle Obama, and, you know, to me, she don't seem like she likes Black people that much. I don't know. I just get the sense that she's annoyed with us. You know, it's been said that she was upset with Black voters because we didn't show up for Hillary like we did for her husband. Well, we don't really like Hillary much. And then your husband, he did a bang-up job in there in regards to Black people where he didn't do anything for us. And so, like, a lot of Black people was like, yeah, okay, you won't get us again. But the other thing, if Michelle goes to the White House, that's kind of like a third term for Barack. Because I doubt very seriously Barack is going to be on the golf course while, you know, Michelle Obama's in the Oval Office. There's going to be a lot of people in her ears. So yeah, we're going to, as Black Americans, going to get ignored again, you know, by Black people. So I don't know. I don't know how well that will go over. And of course, you know, white supremacy ain't going to want no Black woman at the helm of the country.
Okay. Any comments on that?
Shalom, I think this is a distraction. I mean, you can't tell me all of these smart people in the White House and around the country waited until 5 or 6 months before election to get into this situation where everybody's talking about what may or may not happen with Obama. I mean, with Trump. And the age of Biden, we've known this man to be in his late 70s when he came in, and now he's in his early 80s. These whole 4 years, we knew that when he ran. And I mean, for us to be in a position as a country, I feel like it's a strategic plan to distract us about this idea about Harris and Obama. And nobody's saying anything about Trump, who is 3 years younger than him, who has had more slip-ups and more rhetoric that is more divisive and dangerous than Biden ever could. Biden may be stumbling around and mixing up his words slightly and maybe significantly in some cases, but Trump is intentionally talking about, being a dictator and, taking things back 50 years. Neither one of them are fit to run for the office, but I'm going to honor my ancestors and I'm going to vote. But I just think that it's just another way to keep the focus off of what we need to be looking at. And I just feel like it's all a distraction.
Okay. Anybody else?
Shalom, everyone. Yes, just like Tasha said, but there's another question out there for that independent person who could run for it. Trump on the other end with the Republican, no one else is trying to come up. They dropped out before the verdict was in that he had the 34 counts about him. And so there was nobody running anymore for the presidency other than Trump in the court trying to defend himself. So right there, again, to me, seems like this is all a host. This is all programmable. This is all set up because there's no one else running for Republican. And where, as a Democrat, they're putting up, like they said, Kamala Harris and Michelle Obama. Again, no, those two are not campaigning, and we don't know they're saying what they're saying about yes, no. Well, we do know Michelle Obama says no, but Kamala Harris has not said it. And then her husband is not Black. And like was said, she's not going to do something just for Black people. So this is going to be a big uproar when it comes to the election time. And Biden again says he's okay, but then there's a lot of signs says he's not okay. Regardless how his age is, his mental health and his physical health is not okay.
The other part of that is we know a little bit about what goes into coming up with a candidate for presidency, all of the polling that they do, all of the background checks, and all of the stuff that they do. They did this, 2 or 3 years ago, and they consistently said that Kamala Harris is not a viable candidate. So
Right.
when did the tables turn? There has not been him having a one debate that didn't go well. I don't understand how that plays into all of this stuff that we already knew about him. I mean, it's just it doesn't make sense to me. It's looking at it from a 20,000 feet level. We have two of the oldest people in this country. This is these two people come from the oldest generation, and for me, it looks like um, both sides that who have different ways of staying in power or how they run their parties or whatever. They're both still from that old mindset, that old generation. Even Biden in his younger years had some very segregating ideas, some very despairing words to say about Black people that he said out in the public. And I just think it's just at this time in our history that out of 300 million people, this is the generation that y'all put up. Not nobody from generation X or generation Z, but from I think this is they baby boomers, or they the late baby boomers. And I just think that that's no coincidence.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, yeah. When you go to the scriptures, it tells you that in the last days, the fourth beast, that it's a woman that's decked in red, which is Esau, is riding upon controlling the woman. And when you understand that, you know that when you go back and look at America's history, and you'll see that the so-called Jew or the Edomites that's over in Israel, they controlling America. So what you're looking at right here, when people see stuff and say it don't make sense, that's a prime example of the Esau hand at work. Because, like I was saying, go back to this is an example. You go back to he a pro at politics and all that. So you go back to the, like I said, with Napoleon. He orchestrated that whole situation where they pinned Napoleon down at the Waterloo, and then they defeated him. So everybody in an uproar because they don't know if Napoleon won or if he lost. So he sent a message back to Wall Street saying that Napoleon had won. So everybody sold all their stocks. All the stocks that was on the stock market, they sold it. So he came in and bought all of it up for pennies on a dollar, then sent the message back and said that Napoleon had lost. So when the people rushed back to the Wall Street, he didn't bought up all their stocks. So same thing like you see right here. It's Trump is there for a reason. Biden is there for a reason. You go back to how was McCain gonna beat Obama? You got this charismatic black dude. You got all the media behind him. Then you got this old ass white man on the other side. Well, no way he was gonna win. That was all orchestrated. And then if you go back and look at it, you remember Kane started winning. McCain started winning. Then all of a sudden, here comes this hurricane that hit the East Coast, hit New York and all that. That's never happened. And then Obama came back and won it. Because when the hurricane came, it caused havoc in the Republican Party as far as the leadership. So it looked like the Republicans wasn't stable. And then all of a sudden, Obama votes start going up, and he won the election. So these people they pros at orchestrating everything. And when you see something that ain't making no sense, Esau behind it. Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? So they want, like I say, they're pushing for the end of this country. And at the end of this country, when you go back, when civil war breaks out in the country, that's it for that country. So they pushing for a civil war. Like the lady was saying, they don't want no black woman in no White House. But look what they got now. They don't just have one option. They got two options. They got Obama and they got Kamala Harris. How did that happen? Oh, they orchestrated it. So let's listen to this right here and then get some feedback from it.
Whenever the Women of the View speak, is going to be a good show. And what I found out yesterday from Sunny Houston, you all know I can never say her last name correctly. But what I found out from her, I believe it was yesterday, is that America is not ready for Black Girl Magic. America is not ready for Black Girl Magic to be president of the United States. And what she meant by that was America is not ready for a Black woman, allegedly, by the name of Kamala Harris. So we're going to get into all that today. I want to unpack why that statement is complete foolishness, and the fact that the reason nobody wants her as president has nothing to do with her passing as being Black. It has nothing to do.
So this is a prime example. And you just watch it play out. Remember what I was saying last week? I said Kamala Harris and Michelle Obama was going to be the ticket. So anyway, so this is how they did. When you go back to Obama, now right here, they using they puppets, and they're going to get a Black woman. She says that America ain't ready for no Black woman, right? So now go to all these Black women that they've been raised up. That's in these CEO positions and all that. They're going to be infuriated. So what's that's going to do? Galvanize them to come out and vote. That's what they're doing. This how slick Esau is. This conversation right here is going to galvanize all the Black women, especially all them sororities, AKA people and all that.
So
This infuriates them. Go ahead.
Shalom. So one of the things that's happening this week is there's some kind of AKA convention. I don't know what they call it, but they're all gathering, and I think
Right.
that she spoke today. And one of the things that happened was when she finished speaking, which I didn't, the little bit that I heard didn't move me in any kind of way, but they were all acting as if, she said something that was just so profound, so dynamic. They're all chanting 4 more years and all this kind of stuff. My thing is, if we remember, again, looking at it from 20,000 feet, if we all remember, regardless of how you feel about Obama's presidency and whether or not he did anything for Black people, I think it's unrealistic to think that he would. But for what he did or did not do, was he helped bring about where we are right now as far as the division and the divisiveness in this country.
Right.
The idea, if you think about like what Brother Leonard is saying with regards to Esau, he's a trickster, and he's
Right.
very good about bringing about divisiveness and anger. And what is the one thing I would think, not everybody, but what some people in power and a lot of certain levels of white people feel about Black people in general, regardless of their education, regardless of where they grew up, regardless even if they're mixed with someone else, the idea that somebody with any kind of affiliation with Black, they don't hear anything, they don't see anything, they don't receive anything else. That's going to be the one thing that's going to be the tipping point that brings about the downfall of this country. You saw how they reacted. That's where the Tea Party came. That's where the Magna got its roots from, or got its foundation from. The Tea Party built into Magna. That was just from Obama. Now we still got that resentment in the country, and now you're putting to tackle on the idea or even the prospect of having a Black woman. And they've been building this whole idea that the Black woman is the most educated. They're putting her out there, or putting us out there, saying, we've been mistreated, and now the white man wants to be with the Black woman openly and publicly. And just about everybody, every Black woman that is in a position of power has a white man on her arm. So there's a lot of messages that are going on, and I think that there's an undercurrent of divisiveness with this whole idea of putting her out there as a potential candidate, because it continues to fuel this idea that it is so unacceptable that it's going to actually galvanize the other side, not just us. They want the other side to come out. And that's just my thoughts about that.
Right. 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 Yeah. So like I was saying, you got these they made them. So it's not a coincidence that they have like Camilla have a white man, because that's who empowered them. He the one empowered them. So they feel like the Black man is a subpar. So like I was saying, you go back and you look at Esau is behind all of it, because you have to go all the way back to how did you get to this point where you got uh, the number one country and the leading country in the world got two Black women that people were getting ready to push them up for run for president. So how did they get there? You go all the way back to when they brought us over here, and they was denigrating our culture. They knew our culture, and our culture was centered around that dominant male. And so from that, they came up with women's lib. And when you, like I said, when you go do your history, 3 Jewish women came from Israel, and they tried to make it work and impose it on the people in America, especially the Black women. At the time when Harlem was strong, Chicago was strong, all those, everything, we were strong. And so it didn't work. Then they came back and they got the Black woman, added her to the little groups. 3 of them, they came back with the Black woman singer. She was a real popular, I don't know her name. She was a real popular singer. That's when it hit. And then from there, they got to all the money, the funding they started doing for black women's putting all the black men in jail to where it's at today. So all this is not a coincidence. All this was plotted and planned. When they was plotting and planning to put Obama in the White House, they was already plotting and planning this. All that was Michelle. They were building Michelle Obama then. They made her ratings where they at intentionally for this. It's not a coincidence.
Shalom.
Go ahead.
Shalom, everyone. I just want to add another piece. So when you talk about going back and even going back into the garden and then even going back into society and generations, the Bushes knew Obama. When he was 9, he used to go to the Bush's house. So again, it's been orchestrated. His grandmother was in cahoots with whoever she needed to be to help him to get into Harvard so that he could be primed up for this voting, to be president. Shalom.
Right.
You know, the other part of that too is I saw something online one day, and I looked it up and found it to be true. Every president, every known president that we have, I'll say it that way, is somehow related. And you know, they would let us believe that it's just random people, you know, that come from different walks of life that, you know, become president. But the truth is all of them are related.
Right.
Almost like just like they did in the old days. There were kings and they pass it down in the family. You know, back then it was more of the children, the sons and the daughters and stuff like that. I don't know exactly how they're related. According to what I saw, they're all related in some kind of way.
Exactly. Yeah, like they say, the president is selected, not elected. They got the population thinking he's selected. He's elected, but he's selected way back when they prime. You think it's a coincidence that Trump, he the main voice that was behind Obama's birth certificate, and nobody thought in a million years that this nutbucket was gonna be the next president. Come on, it's crazy. Let's check this out.
Do with that, but it has everything to do with her just being a not nice person, we'll say, to say the very least. It has everything to do with her being a douche, a really, really big douche. Okay, so let's get into that right now, man. Hit the like button if you haven't already. We're gonna jump into this right now. Let's check out what Sunny had to say. We'll let her take it from the top.
Been so conflicted all morning, as most of you know.
Rewind that back from the top. She's been conflicted all morning.
Knock, knock. Hi there. I'd love to.
So you know, Sonny is in the sorority. I wouldn't be surprised she an AKA too.
For a second, because I've been so conflicted all morning, as most of you know. You know, I think it would be naive, and I think it would be dishonest for us to say that this president that we are looking at is the same person that we looked at in 2020. I think it would be dishonest for us to look at him and his performance now and his performance across the board, really, not in terms of policy and what he's gotten done, but when he speaks and his appearances, that this is the same man that was Barack Obama's vice president for 8 years. And it would be dishonest for us to look at his record as a senator, which is a darn good record, and say,
that's hilarious. His record as a senator, which is a darn good record. Now that is hilarious. But
yeah,
I won't
somebody told me to say
that many times. Let's just let Sunny bury herself.
That is the same man that we are looking at today. And that concerns me. Okay. But what I will say is, they say behind every great man is a great woman.
Stop right there. That's reserved for a man's wife. It's not reserved for your female coworker. Okay, and that's who Kamala Harris is to Joe Biden. Kamala Harris is Joe Biden's female co-worker. Behind every great man is a great woman. That is a saying that is meant for your wife. It is not meant for your homegirl that you work with. And that's what Kamala Harris is to Joe Biden. She's the homie. So you're already misusing that statement. But anyways, go on ahead. Let's let her bury herself.
Say is, they say behind every great man is a great woman. Kamala Harris, as Anna said, is prepared. She's ready. She's presidential. She spoke at the Essence Festival this weekend. I think we have a clip. I want to show it very quickly.
We're not going to play that clip. All she did was give the regular spiel of saying Donald Trump is a 34-time convicted felon. He wants to be a dictator on day one. There's going to be a bloodbath and a host of other just nonsensical. They're going to put.
So I want to shine a light on this, right? For us, let it play a little more. So what you see now just said, like the guy was just saying, I think Tasha mentioned it earlier, was that they were saying that Kamala Harris wasn't president. She wasn't able to be the president. Now they bring their lapdogs out. Everybody saying that now she's presidential. So, like I was saying before, this is an ideal sign that there's Esau behind this. So you say, well, what are you talking about? Well, JC don't exist. That's why you keep on seeing me beating him down everywhere you go and showing the scriptures that that's not him. He's not in the Old Testament, but he's in the New Testament. So guess what? They wrote all this bullcrap in red that he said. It's no different than what she's doing right here. That's a lie. So the same thing, you got all these Christians, millions and millions of Christians, hanging off of every word that he said that's written in red, when he ain't even exist. Doing the same thing right here in 2024. Okay?
You back and change moment. That's literally all that she said in the Essence Fest. She's giving her credit as being presidential because she simply was able to remember her "they're going to put you all back in chains" script.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
So because Kamala Harris was able to remember her script without giggling and laughing like she always does when she has to speak, apparently that makes her presidential. But once again, Sonny, take it away.
Festival this weekend. I think we have a clip. I want to show it very quickly. Okay? She's presidential. She's ready. She can assume it. So if he cannot complete a 4-year term, we know that we are protected. I will say this. I am uncomfortable with him stepping down because I don't know that this country will vote for a Black woman.
The very first time I heard her say that, I had to get up off my chair and walk away. I had to walk off. America is not ready for Black girl magic. We're just not ready for it. Especially not an Indian woman whose passing is being Black. We're definitely not ready for that.
If this country could not vote for Hillary Clinton, one of the most decorated and successful politicians and people in the world, I don't know that Kamala Harris can be a convicted felon. One more thing that I will.
All right, let's unpack all that she was saying. Let's unpack this, right? Let's unpack everything Sonny was saying, because I have a few articles that I want to go through, and I'm going to go through them rather quickly. And yes, the links to all of these articles is already in the description box below. So if you want to read them in their entirety, if you want to share them with other people, it's there for you to click on and to share with other folks. But you know, let's get into this. Let's get into this. Let me pull this up very quickly. Let's talk about Kamala Harris's Blackness, right? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about her passing as Black, because she is passing as Black. Kamala Harris is an Indian woman raised by her Indian family in her Indian culture. By and large, she did not have a really strong relationship with her father, who is Jamaican. Some people say he's not Jamaican, but I'm not going to get into all that with everyone. That's not anything that I ever actually looked into, his Jamaican authenticness.
So you think it's a coincidence? Ain't this the same shit that was going on with Obama? These are signs right here that they was prepped for this. Wait, long before this even happened. They prepped for it. Same situation Obama in. Nobody, they got issues with the birth certificate. They don't know who his mama, daddy really is, all that. Come on, this is how Esau work.
Or him being authentically Jamaican. But we're just going to roll with that he's Jamaican, right? But she wasn't raised with him. She was raised with her Indian family in her Indian culture, in her family Indian culture, right? And the fact that she's passing is
so this is what I want to say before we go on. For them to have it's not natural, right? For this to be going on, because we know how racist this country is. So why is this person out there? So what I don't know about nobody else. What they tell me, she gonna win. Why they doing this? There's a reason they're doing this. So they said the same thing about Obama. You know, he wasn't gonna win. Why he there? In a racist ass country like his, why is he even in the position? Because part of their plan, he gonna win. Same thing right here.
Black. It's so obvious when you go through her Wikipedia page. And I've done this a couple times before in the past. I'm going to do this right now because I've never seen ever in my life, in the history of Wikipedia, with all of the biographies that I've read on here and biographies of Black people, which Kamala Harris is apparently supposed to be, right? I've never seen a Wikipedia page try so hard
That's it.
and desperately to sell you on another person's Blackness. And that's what you're going to see here. You're going to witness here Wikipedia desperately attempting to sell you on how Black Kamala Harris is. I've never seen anything like this before, and I know that you haven't either. So let's go through this very quickly. And also, the necessity of this as well came from the fact that when she was running for president, as well as when she became vice president and ran with Joe Biden, she received a lot of criticism over the fact that there were so many articles written about her in 2016 and prior, talking about how she's the first Asian American this, first Asian American that. So because there were so many articles published about her speaking on how she's an Asian American woman, then the campaign began to sell you on her Blackness, right? So let's go through this very quickly. Check this out, and let's walk through this together. Kamala Harris was born in Oakland, California on October 20th, 1964, okay? Kamala Harris's Jamaican-American father, Donald J. Harris, is of Afro-Jamaican ancestry. Now, I know you might feel like that's being nitpicky, but it's not the more I read on and you see. But just take a moment to stop and pause and think to yourself, have you ever read the biography of anyone Black on Wikipedia where they discuss maybe their father is from Haiti, or maybe they themselves are from Jamaica, or maybe they might be from Belize, and they had to stress, and they are of Afro-Haitian ancestry, and they are of Afro-Jamaican ancestry, they are of Afro-Belizean ancestry, okay? It might seem like I'm being nitpicky, but I'm not, because the selling of Kamala Harris's Blackness continues the more you go on. Kamala Harris, along with her mother and sister, moved back to California in 1970, while her father remained in the Midwest. They stayed briefly on Milvia Street in central Berkeley. Then at a duplex on Bancroft Way in West Berkeley, an area often called the Flatlands, with a significant Black population. Come on, guys, she's Black. Significant Black population. When Harris began kindergarten, she was bused as part of Berkeley's comprehensive desegregation program to Thousand Oaks Elementary School, a public school in a more prosperous neighborhood in northern Berkeley, which previously had been 95% white. And after the desegregation plan went into effect, it became 40% Black, guys. She was raised in a neighborhood with a significant Black population. Her father is of Afro-Jamaican ancestry.
So like I said, it's the same thing. What they're doing right here, 3,000 years ago, they did the same thing with JC. We can't, they didn't cover all the evidence of. But when you did your research and getting the right information, you can see it's the same thing. But they do it right here. They did with JC.
The school that she went to was 40% black. Come on, guys, she's black. We're trying to sell you that she's black. It doesn't stop there, though. Have you ever seen anything like this on Wikipedia before, where Wikipedia is desperately trying to sell you on someone's blackness? Let's carry on. A neighbor regularly took a neighbor regularly took the Harris girls to an African American church in Oakland, where they sang in the children's choir. And the girls and their mother also frequently visited a nearby African American cultural center. I've never witnessed anything so pathetic.
Exactly.
Ever in life. And my question to you is, have you ever read the Wikipedia biography of anyone black where they had to desperately sell you on their blackness? They had to break down to you the percentage of black people that were in their school. They had to acknowledge that the neighborhood that they lived in had a significant black population. They had to break down to you that they went to an African American church. They had to break down to you that she used to visit an African American cultural center. They had to break down to you that it's not that her father is just Jamaican, but just in case you thought that he was an Indian guy whose family moved to Jamaica and he just happened to be born in Jamaica. No. He is of Afro-Jamaican ancestry. If this isn't passing as black, I don't know what is. I really don't know what is. They're selling you hard on this. But now what I want to do next, let's shift over. I want to shift over and I want to move over to Sonny.
So anybody got anything on that so far?
So yeah, I think, listening to him, this kind of reminds me of why I say, for me, that the Republicans and the Democrats are the same coin. They just have two different ways of doing things. The whole idea about Obama and Harris is their proximity to whiteness, and the belief that we have not, that I remember, we haven't really had anybody, like the guy was saying, that nobody questions their blackness in these sort of upper leadership programs or positions in the country, unless they have some kind of proximity to whiteness. If they don't have any proximity to whiteness, they don't get that far. But on the flip side, they'll get someone who has a closer proximity, if you will, to blackness, because you don't question Donaldson's blackness. You don't question Scott's blackness. We didn't question the football guy, their blackness. But then look how the buffoonery that they presented when they had closer proximity to blackness. They come across as ignorant and tap dancing for white America, as opposed to the Democrats using them in the same way, but choosing someone who has a closer proximity to whiteness to somehow sell them to black people because of the 1% blackness they may have, that they are like you, but at the same time trying to convince the white people that they're okay because they also have a percentage of whiteness that make them more acceptable. To me, they're doing the same thing. They just, again, have a different way of doing it. That's what I heard from what he was saying. Because still, they're still, neither of them are doing anything for us per se, but trying to use us for what we can do for them, and neither are truly doing anything that help bring about our own independence, true independence, and our ability to govern ourselves. That's just what I see.
Right. And the thing about that is, I kind of talked about it a little bit before, but this is a good time to bring it out. So when you go to the military, you got SEAL teams, Navy SEAL teams, might be 10. They got highly trained military guys that, they may have 10 on a team, and they would send them into a country, just say, for instance, they want to rescue a hostage or some hostages. They would send them in rather than to send the army in or whatever. So what people don't know, the history of America, which is tied to Esau, is they got teams like that, but they sort of like spies like. So when you hear like in Africa, that a country like what happened with Saddam Hussein, they send these men in. It might be 20 of them, or 25. They go in, they dress like the regular people, the local people, but they go in and stir it up, start putting ideas in the people. They got certain ones in different locations. It might take 2 years, it may take a year, it may take 5 years, but eventually what they're doing, that government gonna erupt and they're gonna topple it. That's all they're doing right here. That's all they do doing with the population, what they do with when election going on. They got different people planted in different places strategically saying certain shit to and moving the crowd in the same direction.
Yeah.
They doing that. The person don't understand none of that. Go ahead.
My question would be, because I mean, I think I know, but I don't really know. But the question is, what is that next level that they're trying to bring about? So I agree, there is a effort to destabilize it, because they're why is it that, I mean, I don't know if you guys heard about the guy that was got arrested because he wanted to start the race riots. Why do they specifically target us with all of the different denominations and the different ethnic groups in this country? We're so-called the shrinking minority majority, but yet every time they need some kind of saving, or they need a rescue, or they need the swing vote, it is us they come to. And like I said, knowing the dynamics and the politics of this country, you're going to put up, regardless of how you feel, whether or not Obama or Harris is qualified. The issue is they're divisive on the face because of the where this country is as a nation, and they are more polarizing than they are unifying. I agree with him that she always comes across to me like she's reading a script. She doesn't come. She's not dynamic like Obama. If Obama could do one thing, is he can unify the people by the way he talked, and he came across as being authentic, and like he's speaking from the heart. Harris, to me, and this is just my opinion, she always comes across like she's reading a script. They're always putting her in a place, like the guy was saying, so that you can associate her with being black. Like they brought out, I was like, why are they always talking about her sorority? Why are they always talking about AKAs? Why are they always showing her at Howard University, stepping and doing stuff like that? It's because it's divisive, it's polarizing, and it's a distraction from what we really need to be paying attention to.
Right. So like I was saying before, when you understand, we talked about this also, that these people are 50 years ahead of everybody else. So they already know. It's just like the movie Back to the Future. They already know what they're doing. So what you see them doing, you don't know what's going to happen. They do. So they setting it up. So you say, why are they showing her stepping at why they showing at Harvard? What they finna do right here? They did all that for what they finna do. Now they finna, cause of all that, all them sorority women, all them people that associate with all that, they finna rush to support her and vote for her. That's why they did it. Is they setting you up? Like I said, they know what they're getting ready to do. You mentioned earlier that look at Michelle Obama, a skin complexion. That's not normal for them to cater to somebody a dark skin like that. So they did, and she got a favorable rating for what? For what they finna do. They set it up for what they getting ready to do. They did all that back then for what they getting ready to do right here. That's how they operate. So, like I said before, which is another topic, why all of a sudden those Israelis over there in Palestine and they pushing the way they pushing? It's something they're gonna do. They ain't normally what they did. Look at all the risks they took. They didn't got exposed. Everything about them. Everybody's starting to redo the research, Google it, or stuff they used to hear that they shook off. that people were saying, oh, these might be real Jews. Well, now everybody going and researching all that. So why are they pushing like that now? Because of it's for a greater good. They got somewhere they going. And so when you see that, like I said, it's not a coincidence. All of a sudden, Kamala Harris in the spotlight. They plotted that, and it's not that she gonna lose. Just like when Obama was in there, like I said earlier, they there for a reason, and they going somewhere with it. And we the ones gonna sit around because we not operating like we are. We not thinking like Hebrews. Half of us don't know they're Hebrews, so they're not understanding it. We constantly being attacked because of who we are. That's why we being attacked.
When she told us that we're not ready for black girl magic. We're not ready for black girl magic. There's no way that America is going to vote for black girl magic for president. Kamala Harris cosplaying as a black woman has nothing to do with why nobody likes her. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with her just being a garbage human being. It has everything to do with that. And I want to get into that next. So let's go into this article here very quickly. Kamala Harris's campaign unraveled. How can you say that someone should be president of the United States and they're ready to take the helm from Joe Biden when their presidential campaign collapsed before election season could even get started? And mind you, this was written by the New York Times, if I'm not mistaken. Was this the New York Times? Let me zoom out just a little bit. Yes, it is. It's the New York Times that wrote this, a DNC news outlet. And the New York Times wrote this in 2020. Ms. Harris is the only 2020 Democrat who has fallen hard out of the top tier of candidates. She has proved to be an uneven campaigner who changes her message and tactics to little effect and has a staff torn into factions. Okay? The article reads as such. In early November, a few days after...
So this dude right here, the video, name of the video is Son Houston Goes Off. America is not ready for a black woman as president. So you can go check that out and then check the guy out. You got to see the guy. So they brought this nigga on the scene to do this. So he's outright attacking Kamala Harris. Like I said, what you think that's gonna do? This how they work. He finna galvanize all the people because of this. You're gonna hear a lot about this. So you say, well, what you talking about? One man went to Egypt, Moses, and shut down the Egyptian empire. So you would think that a little bullshit ass video like this, what he's saying don't mean nothing. No, they gonna get galvanized off of this right here. He got the nerves. You know the conversations, especially the women. You know the conversations around those sororities. That's the big thing they talk about, black girl magic. So he just said, black girl magic ain't working. What you think that's gonna do? Every educated, every woman got a degree everywhere from to come out. The indirect is they send a negative vibe to get a positive result. That's how Esau worked.
It's manipulation.
Harris's presidential campaign.
Somebody say something?
I just said it's manipulation.
Right, exactly. And he ain't gonna be the last one. It's like that syndrome where what they call everybody jump behind the what they call the underdog. So you're gonna see people come out everywhere down in Kamala Harris, but all it's gonna do is steamroller. Like I said, they did that with Obama. They did it with Trump and Hillary Clinton. They're gonna all it's gonna do is steamroller. Like he said, no, she ain't had no favorable ratings, none of that. But when they get through, it don't take long, 3 months. 2 weeks. A week, they can blow up. with all the media they got, with social media, everything they got now. It don't take long. Okay, a little more of this and then move on.
Long time I like Kamala. I knew her back when she was an attorney general, and I was still teaching, and we worked on the housing crisis together. So we go way back, but they have to be a team, and my sense is they are. I don't mean that by suggesting I think there are any problems. I think they are.
Before you go, speaking of waiting in, and for those of you who remember, I covered this when this happened. Elizabeth Warren had to walk that back. She got in trouble for telling the truth like that. She's not the only one that feels like that, but she got in trouble for telling the truth like that. She got in trouble for not just simply saying yes and being honest and going, I don't really like Kamala for real. Like, you got to talk to Joe about that. She had to walk it back, and then she had put out a statement saying she fully supports Kamala Harris running side by side with Joe Biden as vice president for another term. So the party, they got down on her for that. They said, come on, man. You can't spill the beans like that. None of us like her in the DNC, but you got to do better. You got to do better, Elizabeth. And she actually had to walk that statement back. But once again, the purpose of this whole segment that I went through, as we cut away from Sunny, but now we're coming back to her, was to prove the point, for me to drill the point that her being black, or at least pretending to be black, Kamala Harris, has absolutely nothing to do with why nobody would vote for her. It has everything to do with the fact that she's a unorganized douchebag that nobody likes. No one likes this woman at all, not even the people in her own party. But let's get back to what Sunny had to say, because what Sunny says in closing, it makes you wonder whether or not she was smoking something. And you're going to see what I mean right now. Let me pull that up for you. Let's get back into Sunny. There are 599 of you in the stream right now. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. That's extremely important. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And successful politicians and people in the world, I don't know that Kamala Harris can be a convicted felon. One more thing that I will say is that Republicans are clearly scared about Kamala Harris. They know that as a senator, she represented.
Oh, she was smoking something good before the show started. Literally no one is scared of Kamala Harris. Trump and the Republicans would be chomping at the bit. They would love nothing more than for Joe Biden to step down and Kamala Harris step in. They would love nothing more than that. I don't know what she took a hit of before the show started, but it must have been something good.
Okay. Anybody else got any comments on that before we move forward? Like I said, check the video out. Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Got some need to know information. Then we'll go into deal with this revelation. Let me see what that is. Daniel 9:4 and Revelation 9. Here we go.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about Esau, guys, okay? Specifically the Khazars, and to be fair, the entire Edomite race as a whole, guys, okay? Because it's not just the Khazars, okay? Oftentimes we focus too much on what the Khazars are doing, pretending to be modern Jews, but the truth is they are Edomites who are in charge of Christianity and also of Islam as well, guys, okay? Yeah, those white ones, whether it's the Ottoman Turks who are predominantly Muslim today, they are the ones who are running the Arab Leagues of Nations, guys. Yeah, when you look at those Arabs, you see them looking super white. It's because they are Caucasians, guys, Edomites. Don't ever forget, Edomites control the three major world religions today. In truth, they control many more than that, but definitely Christianity, Islam, and the modern day variant of Judaism that exists today, which is Talmudism, guys. All of that is run by Esau, okay, the Caucasian race. I want to see this book, guys, because in this book here, titled The Legend of the Jews. Let me make it a single page. I don't know why it's looking that way. The Legends of the Jews by Louis Ginsburg. Look at that name right there, guys. Ginsburg. Okay, if it's not clear to you, yes. This book was written by one of these Khazars, okay, one of these people that call themselves the Jews of the Bible, who are not, guys, okay. Revelation 2 verse 9 is a very important verse in the Bible to check to see who these Khazars really are, guys. Okay, Revelation 2 verse 9, and of course Revelation 3 verse 9 as well. Okay, so this is volume 3 of the Legend of the Jews, guys. Okay, this comes in about maybe 6 volumes, but this is volume 3. I want you guys to see what is written. We're going to page 167, guys. Okay, so here we are, guys, on page 167. Very powerful information for every Negro to know, okay, because many of us who are in Christianity and who are maybe in Judaism as well, okay, because we have some of our people, whether it's in Africa or other parts of the world, who have converted to Judaism. You need to understand that your enemy will never teach you to keep the laws of your God. Instead, they will teach you to break his laws, guys. Okay, so listen to this, guys. I want you guys to see what this passage says right here. I'm going to read the highlighted section. Okay, it says, "But God will call out to the Messiah, roar at this monster that devours the fat of the nation." So the monster here we're talking about is Esau, guys. Okay, this is talking about the last days when the Messiah returns, and it's time for him to bring down the nations, the Gentile nations. So he's talking about Esau now. Roar at this monster that devours the fat of the nations, that justify its claims for recognition through being a descendant of Abraham by his grandson Esau. So about the Edomites here, guys. Okay, God will tell the Messiah to destroy Esau, guys. Okay, so let's see what Esau has done that God wants the Messiah to destroy him for. Let's see what he has done. The nation that forgives all for the sake of money, meaning no justice, guys. Okay, this is something we need to realize. If you have money in America or any of these nations where Esau runs, you can escape so much justice, guys. It's not a coincidence that many of these celebrities and people in power tend to escape justice in America because they have that money. When you have money, Esau, the Caucasian race, will give you the opportunity at the very least to escape justice, guys. Okay, it's true. But let's keep going. Let's see what else they have done. Okay, so that nation that forgives all for the sake of money, and what? That has kept Israel, the Negro, back from the study of the Torah, and has tempted the Israelites to deeds that are in accordance with the wishes of Satan, guys. Very important stuff. Let me just highlight it again so you guys will see. Look at what it says right here, okay? That nation, talk about the Edomites, the Caucasians, okay, the white race that has kept Israel back from the study of the Torah. In Christianity, what did they always tell us, guys? What did they tell us about the so-called Mosaic law, right? That's what they call the Torah, the Mosaic law, the law of Moses, which is a fallacy because the laws written in the Torah, whether it's Leviticus or the other books, are not the laws of Moses, guys. They are the laws of God that he gave Moses. God is using Moses as the medium to tell the people, okay? The laws are the laws of God. The Torah is not Mosaic law like they call it in Christianity. That term, Mosaic law, is a trick, guys. It's a trick that Christians, the Caucasian race, uses to deceive people into thinking that we shouldn't take those laws very seriously because it doesn't come from God. When in fact, it does come from God, guys, okay? More and more times in the book of Leviticus, once you read it, you will see that these laws aren't coming from Moses, guys. They're coming from God himself. God is telling Moses, tell the people, tell the Israelites, tell the congregation, okay? The Mosaic law is not the law of Moses. It's the law of God, guys, the Torah. Very important stuff, guys. And as you can see right here, Esau is going to keep the Israelites, the Negro race, back from the study of the Torah, okay? And I've shown you one way they do so, by teaching the Negroes in Christianity that what? That the Mosaic law, right? They call it the law of Moses, are done away with. They're not, guys. There might be one or two of them that is nullified by the death of the Messiah. When he died, his sacrifice covered the Israelites for a time, yes, but the rest of the laws are still in effect, guys, okay? Most people don't get this, okay? But let's see another way that these Edomites keep the Israelites back from the study of the law. I want you guys to see this book. It was published in the year 1998. It's not a very old book, but it has some good information in the book, guys, okay? So here it is, Jews in places you never thought of. Okay, it was edited by Karen Primack. Okay, so let's see what's in this book. We're going to go to one of the earlier pages, guys. I want to show you how these Edomites, the ones that are in Judaism, right, the ones that call themselves Jews, the Khazars, use the same methods as the Edomites who are in Christianity to get the Negro to stop keeping the laws of the Torah. So let's see what they did. Okay, so check this out, guys. We're going to read this section right here. We are on pages 12 within the preface, guys. That is not page 12 in the book, but it's page 12 in the preface. Let's see what it says. Look right here, guys. Another example are the Abayudaya, a group of native Ugandans who have been practicing Judaism since 1919, when their leader, a local governor named Semai Kakungulu, studied and meditated on the Old Testament and adopted the observance of all Moses' commandments, including circumcision. What you are seeing right here, they call it observance of Moses' commandments. It's not Moses' commandments, guys. It's the laws of God. It's the Torah they are talking about right here. So these Judeans, okay, in Uganda, and yes, they are real Israelites, guys. Don't worry about many of these books. They try and make you believe that, oh, these people converted to Jews. It's not true. It's a trick of the enemy. When you read their books, you have to read with wisdom, because sometimes they'll try and make you think they are converts. They are not converts, guys. These are real Israelites right here. So let's see what they did next, okay? Let's see what the modern day Jews, these Khazars, did to these ones who were keeping the laws of Moses, the Torah. Let's see what they did, okay? Over the next 7 decades, the Abayudaya were visited by who? By Americans, by Europeans, and Israeli Jewish travelers who instructed them in what? Post-biblical Judaism. What is that? Did you catch it? Post-biblical Judaism. Guys, what these Israeli travelers and these Americans and Europeans Jews did was they came to these Ugandans who were keeping the laws of the Torah, and they told them, stop keeping the Torah. Keep the Talmud instead. That's the trick. That's the trick. That's what they've been doing. It's just like Louise Ginsburg said in his book right here. Okay, look at what they said. Esau, the nation that forgives all for the sake of money, that keeps Israel back from the study of the Torah and tempts them to deeds that are in accordance with the wishes of Satan, guys, okay? They tell these Ugandans who are waking up to their Israelite identity, stop keeping the laws of the Torah, guys. That's the trick. The Mosaic law, the law of Moses, is the Torah, and it's not Moses' laws, guys. It's the laws of God. God gave it to Moses, and then Moses spoke to the congregation. It's not Moses' laws. Moses was literally the middleman when it comes to giving the laws, okay? It wasn't his. It was from his God, guys, okay? And this same thing, you will see it in communities who have woken up in recent times to their identity, okay? Like the Lemba, I can tell you right now, the Lemba, they are not keeping the law of the Torah no more, guys. They are keeping the Talmud, okay? Even in Nigeria here, in parts of Igbo land, where these Khazars have gone to teach the people there, they've gone to teach many Igbos who have woken up to who they are. Guess what? They're not teaching them to keep the Torah, guys. They are teaching them to keep the Talmud. It's the trick of the enemy. Okay, and many of our people cannot see that trick. It's very sad, okay? I can show you guys a picture of some Igbos of Nigeria. In this image, you can clearly see that these people are not learning the customs and the traditions of the ancient Israelites. No, they are learning the customs and traditions of the Khazars, okay? These fake modern Jews, okay? It's very powerful stuff. People need to wake up to this stuff, guys, okay? Abandon the Talmud. That thing is a joke. Torah is the only way. Okay, so here we are on the book of Sirach, guys, okay, also known as Ecclesiasticus. Look at what it says right here in chapter 19, verse 19. The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord, the Torah, is the doctrine of life. And they that do things that please him shall receive the fruits of the trees of immortality, guys. If you want that immortality, you must have the knowledge of the commandments of the Lord, the Torah. Your enemies don't want you to have it, guys. They don't want you to have it. That's why Esau what keeps back the Israelites from the study of the Torah. They condition you to see the Torah as done away with. When they find these Israelites who are waking up across the world, they send their Khazar, their fake Jewish people, to go and meet them, to go and corrupt these people before they wake up and keep the laws of the Torah. Okay, this is something that we have to keep in mind. Before we die, we have to learn the laws of Moses, okay, the Torah, and it's not the law of Moses. I keep calling it that, but it's not that. It's the laws of your God, the commandments God gave Moses. God gave it to Moses, okay? Moses did not just come up with the laws on his own. No, God told him to tell the people, okay? So it's not actually the Mosaic law. It's the law of your God. It's the Torah, guys, okay? Keep those laws and gain immortality. You break them, you die, guys, okay? So that's what Esau's objective is, to keep back the Israelites from the study of the Torah. Yeah, and then he tempts you guys with all this nonsense that exists on television, on the internet, all this crap, to what? To deeds that are in accordance with the wishes of Satan, guys. He doesn't want you guys to get that immortality. Esau wants to destroy you. But the Negro needs to wake up to the plan, the plot of Esau, guys, okay, to destroy the Negro. We have to be aware of this. That's why
Okay. So that, like I said, the video is Khazars rush to Africa to corrupt the black Jews that are waking up to their Hebrew heritage. You want to check it out. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay. Yeah, so what we're going to do right here, got about 20 minutes or so. I'm going to play this, and then we're going to break it down a little bit. Now I have to come back to it. This is, okay, this is,
well, when we concluded
Daniel 4 and
3
Revelation 9.
last week, it was with a proclamation made by King Nebuchadnezzar. It was addressed to, as he modestly puts it, everybody on earth. And this proclamation was essentially ordering all of his subjects, who he reckoned was every last soul on the planet, to show respect for the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, a God that the king currently called the Most High God. Now, Most High God, those words, are a dynamic English translation of the Aramaic word Eleh, that in Hebrew is El, which means the highest God, usually of a pantheon of gods and goddesses. So as a result of the king's experience of having watched these 3 Jewish lads miraculously emerge from the superheated furnace unscathed, he wanted to honor their God, who rescued them by naming him the Eleh God, the Most High God. But as I pointed out last time, just like the ethics and morals and opinions of politicians change with the weather, so does the pecking order of the many gods of ancient cultures. On the day of this proclamation letter from the king, it was the unnamed God of the 3 Jews that Nebuchadnezzar called the God Most High. And in a few months, probably less, he dropped that and designate another God as Most High. I also want to point out that some Bible versions will put the final 3 verses of Daniel chapter 3 as the first 3 verses of Daniel chapter 4. I can make a case for that either way, but it doesn't matter. The Bible wasn't divided into verses and chapters until hundreds of years after the biblical canon was formulated and it was closed. And they were created for little more than a convenient way to study the Word of God and to communicate it to others. So generally speaking, they do no harm. Let's read Daniel chapter 4. Daniel chapter 4. If you have a complete Jewish Bible, it's page 1103. Daniel chapter 4. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was contentedly living at home, enjoying the luxury of my palace, but as I lay on my bed, I had a dream which frightened me. It was followed by fantasies and visions in my head which frightened me even more. So I ordered all the sages of Babel to present themselves to me so that they could tell me the interpretation of the dream. And when the magicians and exorcists and astrologers and diviners came, I told them the dream, but they couldn't interpret it for me. Finally, however, Daniel, renamed Belshazzar after the name of my God, in whom is the spirit of the holy gods, came before me, and I told him the dream. And Belshazzar, chief of the magicians, because I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in you, and no mystery is too difficult for you, tell me the meaning of the visions I saw in my dream. Here are the visions I had in my head as I lay on my bed. I looked, and there before me was a tree at the center of the earth. It was very tall. And the tree grew and it became strong until its crown reached the sky. It could be seen from anywhere on earth. Its foliage was beautiful, its fruit abundant. It produced enough food for everyone. The wild animals enjoyed its shade. The birds in the air lived in its branches. It gave food to every living creature. I looked in the visions of my head as I lay on my bed, and there appeared a holy watcher coming down from heaven. And he cried out, "Cut down the tree, cut off its branches, strip off its leaves, scatter its fruit. Let the wild animals flee from its shelter, let the birds abandon its branches, but leave the stump with its roots in the ground, with a band of iron and bronze, and the lush grass of the countryside. Let him be drenched with dew from the sky and share the lot of animals in the pasture. Let his heart and mind cease to be human and become those of an animal, and let 7 seasons pass over him." This order is issued by the watchers. The sentence is announced by the holy ones, so that all who live may know that the Most High rules the human kingdom, that he gives it to whomever he wishes, and he can raise up over it the lowliest of mortals. This is the dream which I, King Nebuchadnezzar, saw. Now you, Belshazzar, tell me its interpretation. None of the sages of my kingdom can tell me the interpretation, but you can do it, because the spirit of the holy gods is in you. Now Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, was in shock for a while, frightened by his thoughts. And the king said, "Belshazzar, don't let the dream or the interpretation frighten you." And Belshazzar answered, "My lord, if only the dream were about those who hate you, and the interpretation about your enemies. The tree you saw, which grew and became strong, till its crown reached the sky, and it could be seen throughout the whole earth. That had beautiful foliage, abundant fruit, enough to feed everyone, under which the wild animals lived, on whose branches the birds in the air built their nests. It's you. It's you, your majesty. You have grown and become strong. Your greatness has grown and reaches to heaven. Your rule extends to the end of the earth." Now the king saw a holy watcher coming down from heaven, who said, "Cut down the tree and destroy it, but leave the stump with its roots in the ground, with a band of iron and bronze and the lush grass of the countryside. Let it be drenched with dew from the sky, and share the lot of the wild animals until 7 seasons pass over it." This is the interpretation of that, your majesty. It is the decree of the Most High that has come upon the Lord my king. You will be driven from human society to live with the wild animals. You will be made to eat grass like an ox and be drenched with dew from the sky as 7 seasons pass over you, until you learn that the Most High rules in the human kingdom, and he gives it to whomever he pleases. But since it was ordered to leave the stump of the tree with its roots, your kingdom will be kept for you until you have learned that heaven rules everything. Therefore, your majesty, please take my advice. Break with your sins by replacing them with acts of charity. Break with your crimes by showing mercy to the poor. This may extend the time of your prosperity. All of this happened to King Nebuchadnezzar. 12 months later, as he was walking on the roof of the royal palace of Babel, the king said, "Babel the Great, I built it as a royal residence of my power, my force to enhance the glory of my majesty. No sooner had the king spoken these words, when a voice came down from heaven. King Nebuchadnezzar, these words are for you. The kingdom has left you. You will be driven from human society to live with the wild animals. You will be made to eat grass like an ox, be drenched with dew from the sky. The 7 seasons pass over you until you learn that the Most High rules in the human kingdom and gives it to whomever he places. Within the hour, the word was fulfilled. Nebuchadnezzar was driven from human society. He ate grass like an ox. His body was drenched with dew from the sky until his hair had grown like eagle's feathers, his nails like bird's claws. And when this period was over, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted my eyes towards heaven, and my understanding came back to me. And I blessed the Most High, and I praised and gave honor to him who lives forever. For his rulership is everlasting. His kingdom endures through all generations, and all who live on earth are counted as nothing. He does what he wishes with the army of heaven, with those living on earth. No one can hold back his hand or ask him, what are you doing? It was at that moment that my understanding came back to me. And for the sake of the glory of my kingdom, my majesty and splendor also came back to me. My advisors and lords sought me out. I was reestablished in my kingdom, and to my previous greatness, even more was added. So now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise, exalt, and honor the King of heaven. For all of his works are truth, his ways are just, and he can humble those who walk in pride.
Okay, so that was chapter 4 of Daniel, right? Everybody should know the story. Okay, did anything stick out to anybody on that? Any comments? No comments? Okay, I want to shine a light on a couple things and then we close out. So, we go to Daniel chapter 4, right? I said I got to keep on driving this home, you know, because where we at? So I'm in Daniel chapter 4, and it says, chapter 4, and notice he says that verse 4 says, I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at rest in my house and flourishing in my palace. I saw a dream which made me afraid, and the thoughts upon my bed and the vision of my head troubled me. Therefore made I a decree to bring in all the wise men of Babylon before me, that they might make known unto me the interpretation of the dream. Right? Then you get over here and it says, okay, yeah, verse 13. He says, Nebuchadnezzar says, I saw in a vision of my head upon my bed, and behold, a watcher. Right? So we know what a watcher is. We know that on the earth, Most High formed a man, right? He formed a man. Again, from that man, he made a woman, but he also created a man and a woman in Genesis 1:26. So when you understand what as above, so below, so in the very beginning, Enoch tells us that he formed 7 angels. He formed 7 angels, which are they the holy ones, the 7 holy ones. Then he created all the angels, the millions and millions of angels that they talk about. It was created. It was created. So watchers were created, but 7 holy ones, which is Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, and so on, are holy angels. Yahweh not a holy one. We got 7 holy ones, and like I said, the watchers, they were created. So he tells us right here in verse 13, I saw in a vision of my head upon my bed, behold, a watcher and a holy one came down. So a watcher came down with a holy one. One of those 7 was with him. Now check it out, what has happened. And I'm showing you this for a reason. So it says, and a holy one came down from heaven. 14. He cried aloud and said, thus, hew down the tree, cut off his branches. So what's going on? The Holy One is instructing the watcher. So the Holy One is the one giving the commandments. He says, cut down this tree, right? He cried aloud and said, thus, hew down the tree, cut off his branches, shake off his leaves, scatter his fruit, and let the beast get away from under it, and the fowls from his branches. Nevertheless, leave the stump of the roots of the earth, even with the band of iron, brass, and the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beasts of the grass, and let his heart be changed from a man's, and let a beast's heart be given him, and let 7 times pass over him. So why 7 times? Because it's 7 of them. It's 7 holy ones. That's why you always seeing when he says in the last days that he's gonna open up the Euphrates River and 7 streams. That's why it's saying that 7 of them, right? Anyway, 16 says, 17 says, this matter is by the decree of the, check it out. This matter is by the decree of the watchers. That's the created angels. And the demand is by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High rule in the kingdom of men and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it and basis of men. So we see right here, it's not Yahweh. Yahweh ain't the one that Yahweh not the one that made or never turned Nebuchadnezzar into a beast. It's this holy one right here. He the one told the watcher to hew down the tree. And he the one that made Nebuchadnezzar live in the field for 7 years and eating the grass, not Yahweh. So you say, what are you talking about? Go one more place. Because this stuff right here is going under the radar. So you go to Daniel chapter 8. Like I said, it's 7 holy ones, and it's a order to them. You got Michael, which is the Lord of hosts, over those other 7. You got Michael first in charge, Gabriel second, Uriel, Raphael. It goes on down like that. So now let's go to Daniel chapter 8. So this holy one that came down right here, Michael, he telling the watcher to hew down this tree, not Yahweh. So let's go to Daniel chapter 8, right? When it says, let me get it. Okay. Yeah. So Daniel had a vision, right? He was by the river Euphrates, this the ram and the he-goat, right? So it says in verse 15, Daniel saw a ram and a he-goat standing by the river. These 3 angels came. One was on one bank, on one bank of the river. One standing on the river, in the middle of the river. The Lord of hosts standing on the middle, then another angel on the other bank. So we got Gabriel on one bank, Uriel on another bank, and you got Michael sitting on the river. So I'm giving you the names so you can understand this. So 15, Daniel interpreted the dream being interpreted to Daniel now. He says, it came to pass when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision, and I sought for the meaning. Then behold, there stood before me one as the appearance of a man. So that's Gabriel, because Gabriel is the angel of understanding. So, and then 16, check it out. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of the Uriah. So when it says between the banks of Uriah, he on the water. He's standing in the middle of the river. You got one angel on one bank, one on the other bank. So it's the Lord of hosts standing on the water. Like I said, that's where they get this understanding by JC walking on the water, right? So anyway, verse 16 says, and I heard a man's voice between the banks of the Uriah. Now check it out. Which called and said to Gabriel, make this man understand. So Gabriel's second in charge. So who it is that's standing in the middle of the river? Michael. He's standing in the middle of the water and told Gabriel on the same side of the river where Daniel at. And he tell Gabriel from the middle of the river, go make this man understand. If Gabriel is the second in charge out of all these seven angels, who it is that's commanding him? Because whoever this is standing on the river commanding Gabriel. It's Michael. So go back to the story where the watcher came down in the Holy One. Who do you think that is? It's the Lord of hosts. It ain't Yahweh. So he says right here, Daniel chapter 8, verse 15, it came to pass when I, Daniel, even I had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, and behold, there stood before me as appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of the Uriah, which called and said to Gabriel. See that? Ain't but one person can command Gabriel. That's Michael. So he says, and make this man to understand the dream. That's what Gabriel's role is, to bring understanding. So Michael telling Gabriel, go make Daniel understand. So, like I said before, from chapter 8 all the way to 12, it's the same scene. That's what people don't know. So when you get to chapter 12, I'll start reading it. It says, at that time, and it tell you right here the name. So don't take my word for it. It tells you right here. And at that time shall Michael stand up. The great prince will stand for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even at that same time, and at that time our people shall be delivered. So here go your deliverer right here. Everyone that shall be found written in the book, Old Testament, Tanakh, ain't no New Testament right here. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But here you go. But remember the setting. The setting is Gabriel on one bank, Uriel on one bank, and Michael standing on the middle of the water. So here we go. But thou, Daniel, shut up the words, seal the book to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Then here you go. Like I said, they specific. Once you start thinking like a Hebrew, you notice that everything is specific. So verse 5, then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood the other two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. It'll take you right back to Daniel chapter 7 and 8 that I told you about. Right? Then 6. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters, this is Michael, right here, not Yahweh. And he said unto the man clothed in linen, which is upon the waters of the river, how long shall the end be? Then 7. This is how we know it ain't Yahweh. 7. I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river. He's standing in the middle of the water. When he held up his right hand and his left hand under heaven. Who in heaven? Yahweh. See that? He just got through commanding Gabriel. Now he holding his hands up to heaven, to Yahweh. So this ain't none of Yahweh. This ain't Yahweh ain't the one turned Nebuchadnezzar into a beast in the field. It's the Lord of hosts. So anyway, I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand under heaven, and swore by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time and a half time, and when he have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people all these things shall be finished. So look what he say. It's the Lord of hosts that's on the water. I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river. This is Michael. When he held up his right hand and his left hand under heaven, and swore by him that liveth forever, that's the Lord Yahweh, that it shall be for a time. Now here you go. And when he shall have scattered the holy people. So who scattered the holy people? The Lord of hosts, not Yahweh. See that? And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the holy people, it's the man standing on the water, all these things shall be finished. So that's what I was trying to, that was the reason I went there, show you that. It's not Yahweh. It's what they done just by giving you JC and giving you the New Testament. You can't see none of that. But there it is right there in your face. Any comments or questions?
I think one of the things that really does is it kind of underscores the sort of indoctrination that we had growing up, you know, as a people to say that God, Yahweh, is the one in the Old Testament in order to make room for Jesus in the New Testament. So you don't see Michael at all. You see that as God. And then the right hand, you know, where he sits on the right hand and he supports him, that they're trying to replace him with Michael. That's what that scripture helps me to see more clearer.
Right,
how they
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And once you see that, then you start to see it, everywhere else. Right. Is that something? Okay. Anybody else got anything before we go? Okay.
Shalom. I just want to say thank you for sending those videos out for us to preview prior to. Thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna say shalom, and another shalom. I'll see everybody tomorrow. We got our men's advanced Bible study on Clubhouse. So the Clubhouse room is non-Messianic conversation, and it's at 7 to 9. Shalom.
Shalom.